Hello everyone, welcome to today's story, where love, betrayal, and silence collide under the shadows of the forest. Why does James keep dreaming of a Diep's voice, even when she's gone? What happened the day she vanished without a trace? Who is the mysterious man Diep secretly met? And why did he tell James the child isn't his? Is Diep truly missing? Or is she hiding something darker than love? And when love is tested by silence and doubt, will James wait, or will he walk away? Stick with us till the end, because every whisper, every glance, every unspoken truth might change everything. If this story touches you, don't forget to hit subscribe and help us reach 1,000 followers. Your support means the world and helps us bring more cinematic stories to life. Now, let the story begin. James sat alone in his office, the city lights flickering like distant stars beyond the glass. The silence was loud, too loud. Lately, sleep had become a corridor of whispers, Diep's voice echoing in dreams, fragile as mist. James, don't forget to worry. He would wake with a start, heart pounding, hands trembling, the words lingering like dew on morning leaves. Why now? Why did her voice return like the breeze before a storm? The phone on his desk remained stubbornly silent. He dialed again. No answer. Only the beep and the hollow reply. The user you have called is currently unavailable. Was she ignoring him? Or was something wrong? He tried to drown his unease in logic, in schedules, in meetings, but nothing silenced the throb in his chest, a gnawing tension, a phantom ache. In the mirror across the room, his own reflection startled him. Eyes hollowed, shoulders heavy. His gaze drifted to the framed photo of Diep, smiling under the sunlight, her hand holding his on the riverside trail where they used to walk. He stood. No words, no plans, just an overwhelming pull, a force stronger than reason. James took his coat and left, the door clicking shut behind him like the first note of a long-forgotten song. Outside, the wind was colder than usual. Or maybe it was just him, carrying a storm no one else could see. He didn't know where she was, but he had to begin walking. Somewhere. Anywhere. Because doing nothing was worse than getting lost. The mountain path stretched endlessly beneath James's feet, damp with fallen leaves, brittle with the breath of forgotten seasons. He had wandered far from the city now, where signal bars faded and questions echoed louder than answers. A local man had mentioned a stranger found near the creek. James followed the trail until he arrived at a modest outpost, where a young man sat by the fire, his arm bandaged, his eyes distant. "His name is Dian," someone whispered. "He says he's 27. Says he fell into the stream." James approached carefully. Dian looked up, vacant, confused. "Do you know a woman named Diep?" James asked. A pause. "I don't know," Dian replied quietly, gaze flickering like a broken compass. "I don't remember." James stepped back. The hope that had stirred inside him stilled again, sinking like stone into riverbed. He showed Diep's photo around the village. Faces shook. Voices answered, but none with certainty. No one had seen her, not recently, not clearly. The police were running a separate operation now, preparing to entrap a man named John, the one suspected of hiring people to chase Diep. The plan was dangerous, but necessary. Some criminals agreed to help reduce their sentence. James, though not a policeman, was pulled into the storm. Night fell. Mist laced the hills like secrets untold. James stood at the edge of the village, staring into the shadows of the trees. The forest held her, maybe, or swallowed her whole. No phone calls, no letters, just absence, the kind that grew louder the longer it stayed. James clenched the photo in his pocket, fingers curling as though to hold her hand again. But she wasn't here, not yet. And so he walked on. The forest was quiet that evening, eerily so. A fog like breath from the past clung low across the ground, muffling every step, every rustle. Hidden behind layers of trees and memory, Diep stood in the shadows, her coat thin, her heartbeat louder than the silence around her. Across from her was Pau, her past. Once a promise, now a secret. They hadn't spoken in years, and yet here he was, summoned not by will but by fear. His eyes searched hers, unreadable. "You shouldn't have come," Diep said softly, her voice brittle like dried leaves. "I had to," Pau replied. "You're in danger, and I needed to see you before everything falls apart." She hesitated. There was something colder in his gaze than before, an edge honed by time and resentment. She had once loved him, maybe, or maybe she had just tried to survive beside him. "I won't go back with you," she said. "I'm not asking you to." There was a silence, a crackling, invisible fire between them. Then Pau leaned in, his words low and deliberate. "You're carrying a child," he whispered, "but James isn't the father." Diep froze. For a moment, her breath caught like a frost in her throat. She didn't respond. Her eyes shimmered, unreadable in the moonlight. Did she expect this accusation or fear it? Pau left without waiting for a reply, melting back into the fog like a ghost. The next day, he found James, told him everything, or something. James listened, his face unreadable. The words echoed through him like a rock thrown into still water. Was it true? Or was this a trap, set by a man who had once held Diep not in love, but in possession? And Diep. Why did she meet him alone? The question wasn't whether she lied. It was whether she was protecting something even darker. James sat by the dying fire, a half-burnt log casting uneven shadows across his face. The forest outside whispered as though conspiring. The words Pau had said played over and over in his mind like a broken tape. "The child. It's not yours." He wanted to laugh, he wanted to scream, but all he could do was sit, unmoving, caught between belief and disbelief, between love and suspicion. Had Diep betrayed him? Or was this Pau's last weapon, an old wound dressed in a new lie? James had always trusted Diep's silence more than others' words, but now that silence was louder than thunder. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, staring into the flickering flame as if it held the answer. His heart didn't accuse her, but his mind whispered possibilities. What if? What if there was truth behind Pau's eyes? He remembered the night Diep first told him she was pregnant. Her eyes had welled up, but her hands were steady. She had smiled with a kind of fear, not guilt. Or had he missed something? Had her tears been hiding something deeper? "Why didn't you tell me about meeting him?" He spoke aloud, though no one answered. The flame hissed and died. A sudden gust of wind swept through the trees outside, scattering ash like forgotten promises. James stood slowly, his fists clenched at his sides. He knew he couldn't ask Diep now. She was still missing, perhaps still running, from danger or from truth. Either way, she had left him in a place where love blurred into doubt. He stepped outside. The night wrapped around him, thick and unforgiving. Somewhere in the dark, the woman he loved was either waiting to be found or hiding from him. The morning broke slowly, like a wound unwilling to close. Mist curled around the porch where James sat, shoulders heavy beneath a sky too pale to offer comfort. Footsteps rustled the gravel path behind him. He didn't turn, he already knew. It was his mother. She sat beside him without a word, her silence gentler than most conversations. Her hands, weathered by time and worry, folded in her lap. She looked ahead, not at him, her voice soft. "I heard she's still missing." James nodded. His lips stayed shut, but his eyes brimmed with what he could no longer contain. "She didn't deserve this," his mother whispered. "That girl, Diep, she's stronger than she looks. I always saw it in her." James inhaled, shaky. "You liked her, even when Dad didn't." Her smile was faint, tinged with memory. "I don't love with conditions. Not like he did." A pause. "She came from nothing," she continued, "but she brought warmth into your life like no one else ever did. Do you remember how you used to smile when she called?" "I still remember her laugh," James murmured. Another pause, this time heavier. "Someone told me the child might not be mine," he said. His mother didn't flinch. "Do you believe it?" "I don't know," he admitted, "but it hurts to wonder." She reached out, her hand resting over his. If love can be broken by doubt, maybe it was never love to begin with. But if it holds through silence, maybe, just maybe, it's real. James looked down, the photo of Diep still in his pocket. "Then I have to find her, not for answers, just to know she's safe." "Then go," she whispered, but not with anger, with hope. The wind carried her words far into the trees, like prayers for a daughter she had never truly lost. The afternoon sun filtered weakly through the canopy, turning the forest gold, then gray. James sat on the same rock where he and Diep once carved their initials, J and D, barely visible now. Moss softening the memory like time softens grief. His mother had gone, leaving behind her warmth and her faith. But James stayed, unmoving. What if she's never found? The question had been forming for days. Quiet, shapeless, unspeakable. Now it sat beside him like an old companion. He stared at the earth beneath his feet, dirt that once held Diep's footprints, leaves that had once brushed against her shoulders. Somewhere, her scent still lingered in the wind, faint as a lullaby. Could he live with not knowing? He remembered how she used to gather herbs in the forest, humming tunes without lyrics. She had always belonged to nature more than she did to any man or home. That was what first drew him in, her wildness, her grace. But now, had that same forest hidden her, or taken her? James buried his face in his hands. "If she never comes back," he whispered, "how do I go on?" No one answered, only the wind shifting. Suddenly, the echo of a laugh, a memory, not a sound, danced through the leaves. And he remembered Diep, standing barefoot by the stream, saying, "Don't fear what you can't see, just walk toward it." He opened his eyes. Maybe he would never find her. Or maybe she was closer than he thought. But for now he would wait, not out of desperation, but devotion. Because real love doesn't demand certainty. It only asks us to stay. Dusk draped the valley in soft violet. The breeze carried a quiet chill, brushing James's face like the memory of a hand once held. The trees no longer whispered, they listened, as if nature itself had settled into stillness, waiting with him. He didn't move. The spot where he sat overlooked the old clearing, the one Diep loved. There, they had once watched fireflies bloom like lanterns in the dark. There, she had once turned to him and asked, "If I vanished, would you remember the way I smiled?" He had laughed then, not now. Now, the question felt like prophecy. Behind him, the path home stretched in silence. His mother had called earlier, telling him dinner was ready, asking him to return. But James had refused gently. "Just a little longer," he said, "just in case. Because what if she came back, and no one was here?" He ran his fingers across the bark of the tree beside him, finding the old carving again, J and D. The lines were worn, but still there, like him, worn, but still here. He imagined Diep in the forest, maybe injured, maybe in hiding, or maybe she was gone entirely. But hope, cruel and kind, refused to leave him. He didn't cry. There was a dignity in waiting, in not giving up, even when logic said otherwise. The first star blinked awake above the trees. He looked up. "Come back," he whispered. Not as a plea, but a promise. A promise to stay. Because love is not always loud. Sometimes it sits quietly in a place you once shared, watching the wind carry your name through the dark, and waits. Just in case. James, a successful CEO, keeps dreaming of Diep, the woman he loves, whispering, "Don't forget to worry." Haunted by her absence, he abandons everything to search for her. While the police pursue John, the man suspected of sending people after Diep, James receives a devastating revelation. Pau, Diep's ex-husband, claims her unborn child isn't James's. Torn between trust and doubt, James spirals into silence. His mother, gentle and wise, comforts him, reminding him that real love endures uncertainty. Faced with a painful choice, James stays behind in the forest clearing where they once carved their initials, hoping Diep might return. Not for answers, not for closure, but because love, when true, doesn't walk away. It waits, quietly, faithfully, where memory and longing meet.